Hi all, my name is Emily Fields, and for this assignment I wanted to give you some insight on what I noticed and found helpful in the videos we watched this week. During each video I made note of what stuck out to me, phrases that were used, and the overall atmosphere of the session. Each video truly represented qualities of a counselor that I hope to convey with my future clients. In the first video, The Listening Cycle, the narrator reminds you that this is the beginning interaction with the client. It is important to display nonverbal skills, provide encouragement, and ask a combination of open and closed questions. During this session, the counselor used phrases such as, "Say some more about that," and "If I could stop you here just for a moment and summarize what we've talked about so far to make sure I'm on the right track." Both phrases indicate that the counselor is listening. He also asked the client to verify an assumption based on an observation made while the client was explaining their situation. The balance of listening and interjections during the session is what I would imagine an actual counseling session to be. The counselor's job is to listen and then counsel based on the information they have received. If the counselor is talking more than listening, how are they equipped to best counsel their client? In the second video, Invitational Skills, I noticed that the counselor, to start off, thanked the client for coming in. I found that skill one to take note on, and it sets up the session in a welcoming format. Throughout the session, I noted these phrases used by the counselor. "So, tell me more about what's happening," and "Will you tell me a little bit more?" Each phrase opens up the floor or invites the client to share. They are open-ended questions that encourage the client to elaborate. This is an important skill to have as a counselor, and out of the 4 videos, I consider it to be the most important. Without proper invitational skills, the session could plateau. If the client doesn't feel invited to share their story, their feelings, their thoughts and concerns, they could shut down. As counselors, we need to have the ability to ask open-ended questions and to construct them in a way that motivates depth. The counselor in this video asks decent invitational questions, but I do think they could have been a little bit more direct. Her questions were vague, but there is also no indication of whether this is a first session or later sessions. I think in an actual counseling session, the questions would be more focused and guided. The last 2 videos, Reflecting Feelings and Reflecting Meaning, were harder for me to decipher. It seems to me that they were a combination of the first 2, with more emphasis on how the session ended. Basically, they summarized the client's feelings and gave meaning to the client's story. The phrase "set the stage" was used, and I feel like that accurately portrays the atmosphere of a counseling session. A counselor must provide a welcoming, stable, and encouraging stage in order for the client to perform their best. Take the time to listen, invite, and explore what your client is trying to express so that you can grasp what they really mean and counsel effectively. Although I do believe these sessions were a bit vague for what I imagine a counseling session to be like, they are quite similar. The posture of the counselor during the session was welcoming, attentive, and focused wholly on the client, and the client was forthcoming and receptive. In reality, not all sessions will be this straightforward, but the substance of the sessions were representative of what I would imagine.